This is the Convention Creatives Podcast, and this is a very special one because we have been attending a lot of conventions and we simply have not had the time to cover them. So we're doing this bumper episode to make sure that we cover as many as we possibly can. Isn't that right, PB?
We are going to review 7 different events that we took part in over the summer, but we're only allowing ourselves to review them for 10 minutes each, because otherwise we'll be here till next summer. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. Go, 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 go.
Go straight into one of the big ones, which is MCM London.
May,
to be very clear.
Yes.
This is my first
not
MCM.
October. It's gonna be May. Yes.
So to me,
May.
this is like all of MCM, but no, MCM May in London. And
yes,
like I just said, my first time doing an MCM, so had no idea what it would be like. But I did have a lot of expectations from other people who told me basically the grandest event of the year. You're never going to see a con like it. I will be honest, when I got there, that's not what I saw. I saw a very visually lacking event. We compare it to other footage you'd have seen from us from other events that are very like, we're going to show banners and displays and very visually interesting things that show you where you are and things like that. There just wasn't any of that at the MCM I attended. Now, PB, I don't know what that was like. Has that always been that case? Is this something just this year? Or is that just how MCM looks?
I mean, I can't say I generally have a lot of time to walk around an MCM because this is generally a busier event, the busiest. That said, I will say that this time around, we didn't have enough footfall on our side of the aisles, so I did get to walk around, and it was a little bit more grey than usual. The carpeting was grey, the backing walls were all grey, there was the same kind of backing walls in more or less all stations. It was a little bit underwhelming, I would say. I heavily think that MCM London has now opted to put all its eggs into the October event, where it is merged with EGX, which is a gaming event. And I strongly believe that they are keeping all their aces for that singular event, including the guest appearances, the gaming sections, the interactive sections. Everything is very much targeted to make the October event bigger, while maybe making May a little bit less stressful on them.
I guess. I mean, it very much felt that way. If they're holding everything out for the next event, then that was very evident because, like, on top of it just looking, like you said, grey, and, like I said, grey carpets for the few carpets that were even put out. But there also just wasn't a lot to do. I was lucky enough that I was able to walk around a few times, but I was quite like, oh, is this all there is? It's basically opportunities to spend money, which is awesome, and 1 or 2 like big corp displays advertising their product. But other than that was it. I was like, okay, there's not a huge amount to do. Like, unless you want to go to a panel and queue for that, there wasn't a lot of activities or anything like to keep you engaged, especially for an event that's like, it's not like a one-day con. It's something that they want people to visit for the whole time. I was quite like...
It's a 3-day event, and it's an international event as well, so you would expect a little bit more out of it. That said, I personally can't say I care much about that. What I care about is the people attending, what it is like to get a payday out of MCM, and I will admit that this time around, it was quite lacking compared to other times. I will explain why before people chew me out for this. Looking at the floor plan, Artist Alley is all based in South Hall. If you are aware of the walking patterns of people and spending patterns of people, the people who go to MCM, even in my comment section, always say that they spend their money in Artist Alley because they completely forget that traders include artists as well. So if you are a trader artist like myself, you were stuck in North Hall away from Artist Alley, and the footfall just really was not there. We were sent footage by a few other vendors in North Hall who on Saturday at noon had an empty aisle in front of them. This was the same for many of us in North Hall. South Hall, on the other hand, our friend Printing Like Rabbits, he was in South Hall with his Corp booth, and that was busy all weekend. So I do feel like the reason why Jamie and I feel a little bit underwhelmed with the event is because we were placed in North Hall, which up until 3 years ago, if you were in North Hall, it was a win. And if you were in South Hall, it was a death penalty, really. And nowadays, if you're not anywhere next to Artist Alley at any event, customers don't really walk your way. Thankfully, in this occasion, we were part of a stamp rally, a Sonic stamp rally that did really well. It was our first experience with the stamp rally. It was organized by a very good friend of mine, Raluca. Shout out to her and everyone who participated in it. Thanks to their effort, a lot of people who were in Artist Alley, who were part of the stamp rally, sent people our way. And I genuinely think that if we didn't have that, we would have had a very big hit to our finances. That said, did it perform badly? No, not compared to any event this year or ever. MCMs are generally, for me at least, they're generally 4 times what I do at other events. However, this time it was only 3 times what I do at other events, if that makes sense. Our expectations, however, were very high. We did the most with our setup. We did the most with our presentation. We had 3 statues. We had new shelvings, new display items. If you've seen the pre-setup episode that we did, we really went in with it. We were expecting a lot more. And unfortunately, it was underwhelming. Not because people weren't stopping by and shopping, but because there weren't a lot of people on our side of the event. Unfortunately, the upcoming event in October, we are also going to be in the exact same location. So if you found us there last time, try and come find us again. However, I don't hold high hopes that it will be much, much better. The only thing that is going to be different is that the EGX section of the event, which will be happening in October, is not going to be far away from us. So all the gaming stuff and all the gaming presentation and LAN and so on will be taking place not far from us in North Hall. So fingers crossed, that helps us out. What does annoy us, however, is that while we have this opinion, and this is not just opinion, it is also factual, we have footage of it, that there weren't many people. I have my card machine receipts to show how many individual sales we had. The percentage of each sale was really good. We had customers that bought 5 t-shirts, and this wasn't 1 or 2 people. This was entire groups of people, right? But the quantity, the amount of purchases compared to other past MCMs was, I would say, a third less, which is sad because it shows you that there were less people. Another indicator that there were less people is the fact that hotels in the area were still available 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and 1 week before the event, and their prices had been radically dropped compared to usual. This is because usually prices for hotels around MCM time are jacked up because it is such a sought after event. However, this year, for some reason, not many people have decided to go to the May event as much as they did last year. I'm not saying that there weren't any people, I'm just saying that there were less people. So the prices of the hotels dropped and there were many vacant hotels still available in the area. That said, people online keep insisting that it was overpacked, that 50 people fainted, ambulances everywhere, and so on and so forth, and the green is packed. The green is packed because you chose it to be. Unfortunately, a lot of people decide to spend £100 on a ticket for MCM weekend and spend it outside in a patch of grass, which you could do in any street of London without paying.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It is very frustrating for us that this happens. We spend so much time planning, preparing for this. The tables at MCM cost an absolute fortune. Being in London costs a fortune to travel down, van rentals, hotels, food to stay for 3 days. We have to do it for work. and the return, to see people just sitting outside is just very frustrating, to be honest. And then they tell you, oh no, it was packed. It wasn't. It wasn't. You just made the wrong choices. That is more or less all I have to say about MCM, unless you want to add anything. I am very much looking forward to October, obviously. Please don't take this as a he does not want to go back. I will always be going back as long as they have me, because even though the money isn't as good as I hoped it was, it's still good coin.
And we like the coin, so that's always good.
The payday
and that is
was
our
good.
10 minutes for MCM done.
Wow.
MCM
Okay.
done. So, next one. Let's go.
Oh my god.
Right.
Okay.
UK Games Expo.
UK Game Expo. Yeah.
Next one we did, which was...
The expectations for this were way too high, I will admit.
It's an interesting one because coming directly out of like talking about MCM for myself, it couldn't be more opposite in terms of a con-going experience, because whereas I said MCM was just visually nothing, there was no identity to MCM, in my opinion. UK Games Expo was all about branding, identity, and personality. Everywhere you look, there was visually interesting things, vertically, just stuff going on all over the place. All the corporations who brought things had very interesting setups. The navigation of how to find your way around things, everything was very carefully thought out and easy to understand and move around. I just think compared to MCM, it just looked so much better, and I can understand why there's a crowd who really, really like attending UK Games Expo.
So yes, as you can probably tell, UK Games Expo is clearly the place to go to if you're into card games, tabletop games, Dungeons and Dragons, if you want to buy expansion packs of games you already have, if you want to playtest things that haven't even released yet, this is the place to be.
Again, from more con-going viewpoint, was just how much nicer the crowds were. It was just a very friendly atmosphere, and again, I think it's because the majority of the people were either board game players, tabletop, D&D, so everyone was like just chatty, friendly. There were so many social areas just to play games and stuff, and everybody was like, because they could see I was on my own, just wanted to know if I wanted to play a game with them or stuff, because they didn't want me to feel like that I was on my lonesome. And there was a lot of tables who were going out of their way to make sure it was a diverse and friendly environment, and a lot of effort from people making sure it was a good space for people who may be overwhelmed by conventions and stuff. It was a very progressive, positive crowd at this event, and I just really vibed with it. I really, really liked it.
There's so many different ways for you to find community and comfort while still being an incredibly safe space. One world is being so terrible.
I don't feel like you have to buy something. Even if you've only got enough money for the ticket, you could just come here for the day out and the experience and have a look around, meet up with the community, get connections, and then maybe think of things that you do want to buy.
The people here, you can bump into almost anyone because of the type of environment it is that if you find things where you're overly stimulated very easily or become overwhelmed, if you explain to someone what's happening, something not always help you. It's just relate to the sort of people that are drawn here.
Yes.
Especially with the fact that all staff here are volunteers.
Yes.
So basically, it's like they're here for the passion.
They want to be here. Yeah. That's so good.
They want to make your experience the best it can be.
People who go to NCM are people who go to con almost every year, or they're part of that, like, cosplay, con touring energy.
Yeah.
That comes with a certain level of, I am at the cream of the crop con of the year. So they go in with a certain, not attitude, but there is a level of entitlement. That's why we get comments about, it's so oversold, blah, 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 blah. And however, with the people at UK Games Expo, where if you see the video footage that I posted on my stories of literally crammed people pushing to get in the morning, right? That would have made someone feel like maybe that looks a little bit oversold, but I don't know. They are cozy people. They're literally cozy board game people. They're chilled out. They're mellowed out. They're there because they want to vibe with games that they purchase, and chill with group of friends and in that family cozy ambient. So needlessly to say, it is summoning the people who are a lot more relaxed, right? When it came to you discussing that the layout looks a little bit more colorful and so on and so forth, a lot of these spaces were booked out by gaming companies. Those gaming companies have art departments to make their stands look pretty. So again, it is a little bit of unfair comparison. However, I will give it to you. It did look quite exciting. Even for myself, I'm not much of a board gamer. I do play board games, but I don't collect anything of the sort. It was still quite exhilarating to be in that ambient. I did, however, have a few gripes with this event. Firstly, the people who are diehard fans of this event have hyped it so much to me, and everyone was like, oh, MCM money, this is MCM money, this is MCM money. It does make me wonder what money they make at MCM, no offense, but I don't think this wasn't even 1/4 of what I would do at an MCM. I still had a small crowd in front of the table. It was a little bit hit and miss because of our location. Location was a little bit shit, to be honest. I think we were in the only blind spot in the entire floor plan. The floor plan was so perfectly executed. Everything was very, how to say, intuitive. You walked around, you saw everything. However, our section was a total blind spot. People were just walking around us instead of walking our aisle. It was a little bit silly.
One of the things I just want to say, talking on that point about placement, it really shows you that an event can be as busy as possible, but placement really counts. Now, you may have seen a lot of our videos, just how packed and crazy and heaving it is. But if you look in our location where we are, there's almost no one. You can see traffic going along the back, going around the space around us. But actually, in this space here, I've got all the space in the world. There's just no traffic in this way. Placement really matters. So I really, really do recommend people think about that. It's crazy.
Security for this event were a bunch of dickheads. I'm sorry. I understand how it is to work with traders, and how I understand how you have something in mind and you want that rule to be followed. But clearly stating to my face that, oh no, this is how I interpret the rules, just makes you a dickhead. I had a wristband for setup day. That wristband is literally for setup day. You can go in and out of the venue as much as you want to be able to set up, because it is setup day. We went to have our lunch. We came back and the guard would not let us in unless we had the on day one pass, the actual pass for the event. And we said, yeah, we do have it to set our table. And he said, I can't let you in. And I'm like, but it's setup day. And he was like, yeah, I can't let you in without that pass. I'm like, no. This is the wristband to get in. It says setup on it. And he said, well, this is how I do it. Frankly, I don't give a shit how you do it.
That is literally.
Stop being a bellend and let us in. Long story short, we had a little row with this dickhead and finally made our way in. I didn't like that. I didn't like that the money wasn't nearly as much as people hyped it to be, but that is my own fault. It is not the event's fault. I didn't like that we ended up in a blind spot, but as you all know, if you followed the podcast, we essentially got a space very last minute for this event. That said, my work felt a little bit disconnected, I will admit. I was probably the only one who was mostly heavy into fandoms and not into D&D as an artist, because most people had like D&D stuff. I did have some D&D stuff. Surprisingly, anything sold but my D&D stuff at the D&D event, and then the D&D stuff sold at other events that had absolutely nothing to do with D&D. But it was a fun weekend.
We are rounding up near the end of the 10 minutes, but before we do, the big question, as we talked about it, first time doing this event, do you think you'd be interested in applying again?
I am curious to see if I planned more stuff for it, if it would do any better. However, next year we might be doing or attempting to do TwitchCon instead. That always falls on the same weekend. So we will see. Fingers crossed. It's either going to be UK Games Expo or TwitchCon, depending on where we get in.
I'd like to see us there again, if opportunity allows, if the planets align. So we shall see. It would be good, mainly because I just like playing board games, and I got to meet lots of people who wanted me to play lots of wonderful things. 10 minutes.
Fun.
Up. And it means we move on to another one. Not another one. Yes, we're on to the next con, which is AnimeCon UK.
Spicy. Spicy.
Again, as most of the cons this year, my first time doing one. First time doing AnimeCon, and it was a very interesting experience. There was a mixture of, from our point of view, of issues of setup and things like that. So I will admit.
Here we are. We have arrived at the NEC, and the first thing we noticed is this. So, for context, this whole space, right? This whole space is ours, and pick the plushies. And in the middle of our space is this beautiful divider, which, isn't great. It's not really great.
That, though I will admit, all of them were addressed. And I think my perspective as someone who, from a more attendee point of view, was just very curious about layout choices, not about ones you may have already heard, more specifically for me about like main stages and things like that, and just the audible side of things and how things are placed very near each other. We had a wonderful podcast stage, which we are so grateful for. But it was also, again, just audibly next to something very loud. So I do wonder, like, if those things have been thought out. In reality, that's my perspective as someone attending and visiting. But yeah, I just think it was it was actually a very good atmosphere of people attending. There was a variety of stuff to do. There was definitely many things to do. I think I was not expecting to go to an AnimeCon and see a whole live D&D session being played out with an audience. Like, just really interesting things like that I really enjoyed seeing. And the other thing I will say, as someone who is just
live D&D. Where was that?
It was near the main stage. Couldn't hear it very well because it was right next to the main stage because they were putting everything next to each other, but it was there.
Wow. I missed that.
But yeah, just lots of interesting, unique things happening throughout every day, and I really appreciated that. And I also, in the same way, I appreciated that all these different things around. Maybe their placement wasn't the best, but they all look so visually interesting. We were right next to like a panel stage for like influencers and people to do like talks on like VTuber and things like that. And it was just nicely decorated. They didn't just shove up a stage and some chairs and be done with it. It's like, no, how do we make this look aesthetically pleasing for people attending? Because I think it actually also does a good job of drawing people in to sit down because it's just a visually interesting area, rather than looking like you're being lectured at by someone. So just a lot of effort into how they presented things when you walked in. If you've seen our walkthrough video, you will have seen the first things you saw when you walked through. There was a lot of attention to the cosmetic aspect of it. I think it was a very pretty event.
Very good use of space too. I mean, it is something that you would travel with in such a condensed space, but it leaves such a massive impact. I think we're going to have to dump the Sonic statue, kick it to the curb, and instead have a Sonic inflatable. Yes, that's the idea. Let's go destroy it now.
Just tell Rob. Tell Printing Like Rabbits.
It's done.
It's done.
This is so cute. This little cake. And they're hugging the cake. I'd hug a strawberry cake.
You wouldn't, to be fair.
I would. I love it. Very nice. Very nice. And considering these were probably like in a suitcase or in a condensed box.
Yeah.
They're not looking very like crumpled or anything of the sort. It's I think they travel quite well.
They do.
Unlike that Barney in New York City that blew up. Cut to the Barney in New York City.
Again, so many other things going on around the event as well. I'm curious for your perspective as someone who's done AnimeCon a few times now.
Yeah, well, my experience with this AnimeCon in particular, in terms of money, was that I made more money this time than the previous 2 years or 3 years. I think it's 2 years. That said, I will say that there's just too much drama related to this event in general. Not necessarily just this particular year, but in general, there's just too much shit going on around AnimeCon. I think the people who organized it, or who do organize it, have good intentions. I think they have a solid background in organizing events. They have good money for organizing events. That said, love them. They have tried to help us out as much as possible on multiple occasions to get to where we want to be, but I don't think they know how to deal with this crowd of people that they have before them. The type of attendees, the type of traders, the way the traders and artists know how to relay things that they are unhappy with. I don't think AnimeCon is equipped to deal with those kind of situations. And there's a lot to unpack in my statement, yes. But I think that as much as I would like to see AnimeCon succeed, with the current people that are applying to be in it, who are causing certain needless warfare about it, it is not going to improve. AnimeCon, I feel that now has taken a stance of, if you don't like it, just don't show up, which is not going to make the event improve. So I feel like the event is a little bit as a stalemate. There's a lot of he said, she said, he did this, she did that, and I don't know. I want to enjoy myself there. I want to go once without all the fuss and drama and without people trying to fuel fires when there aren't any. And I want to go there when people are bringing legit things to the organizers and they are dealt with in a nice way during the event and not retroactively trying to fix things after. There's so much potential in this event. However, it is both not done, organized enough at its full potential, and also it is not looked at fairly by people.
I would agree.
You're all wrong,
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I think it's so fair, and I feel like, again, this is just our own opinions, but like, if you've done this event enough times, you know what it's going to be like probably as your experience for you, so you probably are in a place where you can make a decision that it may be not for you, and that's fine. There shouldn't be a weird need to feel like you need to keep coming back if you know that you're not going to have the best experience for you. I think it's a perfectly good business decision to go, this isn't where I want it to be, rather than feeling a need to come back to make that point again and again. I will say my brief experience with speaking to the people who organize the event and interacting with them during the event, I could sense genuine willingness and goodwill and motivation to make it a good event for people. And my only takeaway, having seen the stuff that's happened around the event, is don't burn out that goodwill, because I generally find when people do that, it doesn't come back. So just there is a genuine want to make it the most awesome anime event possible. So embrace that willingness and motivation from them, rather than burn it away. That's all I would say.
I think in reality, I have made friends with the people who organize it, with the people who put money into it, with the people who volunteer into it, with the people who are trying to trade at it, and with people who are trying to be a part of it just to talk shit about it online because it gives them views. I have made friends with all of these people. Regardless of what I say is going to hurt someone, right? Yeah. So I have now decided that what I just said is the only opinion that I am going to actually share. You're all doing something. You're all affecting it negatively. Just get your shit together. Because at the end of the day, you all really want the same thing. You want a good event that makes everyone money. Talk a little bit more like adults. That's it. Pass. Let's move on. I don't think we passed 10 minutes, but honestly, there isn't. Am I looking forward to Manchester? Yes. Why? Because it's not the NEC, and hopefully it will be different.
Yes.
That's my only hope, that if it's in Manchester, it will bring a new air to it. But please, if you only had bad experiences, just give it a break. Give it 2-3 years and then go back to it. See after.
So we're done with that one. We're moving away from an anime convention now to a very different breed of convention as well. We're going to be talking about Milton Keynes Comic Con, which is the one that you got to attend.
Yes, I have been going to Milton Keynes Comic Con since its first year, and this event has grown each year in this lovely family event. It is small but extremely well organized. The setup and breakdown of this event is always just an absolute breeze. No one is a dickhead. No one is over imposing on anyone. Yes, there's newcomers, because with local cons there's always the brand new faces that they never did anything like this, so they're easily overwhelmed, which is fine if you're easily overwhelmed. It's not as fine when you're like, oh, I don't like it, they're doing too much noise here, they're doing too much noise there. Oh, maybe just stay at home. And you're in public. Fuck's sake. The clientele, I have had the same customers drop by every single year for the last 3-4 years that I've done it. It's always nice to see them. It's nice to see these kids that I remember the first year that I went to this event. There was this young female cosplayer, and she was looking at one of my Evolutions t-shirts, and she wanted that t-shirt so badly, but didn't have enough funds. She came by once, twice, 3 times with her cosplay group, and it was their first time in cosplay, their first time at an event, and eventually, with a bit of a giggle, they essentially explained why they keep coming back, because she can't afford the t-shirt. And I remember that I gave her a very hefty discount by asking how much she can pay for it while still having food to head back home and have money to get back home, and food as well. And whatever amount she said, I remember being with my mom and we had pre-discussed it, that I would say, that's fine, whatever, you can have it. Mostly because I wanted to make sure that this person would have a good experience at their first convention ever. And they have returned every year, and this year she bought a t-shirt, even though the prices went up. She bought the t-shirt at full price and said, I don't know if you remember me, but my first year you gave me a really big discount because I couldn't afford my t-shirt. And I said, it was an Evolutions t-shirt. And she said, yes, I can't believe that you remember me. She said, I'm always in cosplay, so I buy from you every year, but you don't recognize me. I'm like, no, I obviously don't, because, But they had grown up so much, and it made me feel like this, it's that family ambient, but in a good way. Not like Hyper Japan. And it is just so much fun. I really genuinely enjoy it. I am trying to figure out, once I live further away from it, because the only reason why I do it at the moment, it's because it is a one-day event that is only 20 minutes by car away from my house. When I move further away, will I be able to travel for it? The money that it does for the day isn't bad. And believe it or not, 4 years in a row, I've made the same amount plus or minus £20 every year. Every year. And it's quite funny because this year, it was nearing the end of the event and I was about £300 under.
Yeah.
It was an hour away and I was £300 under. And I looked at Printing Like Rabbits, Rob, and I was like, is this the first time that this event doesn't do the same? And in that hour, t-shirt, 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 and suddenly like, oh, I'm exacted the same amount again, and the show has now closed. It was so funny. I would say that it is the kind of event, and this holds true for all these little Comic-Con events. If you have badge buttons, if you have stickers, if you have low ticket items, the families, the kids, those who just want to buy a little trinket in that moment, it is ideal for them. Medium priced items, I wouldn't really care much to bring at an event like this, because you're either going big and getting that t-shirt that you want, or you just have change and you want to buy as many little things as you want. So I would just go between those two. For me, t-shirts work very well at this, as well as the badge buttons. So I was golden there. The only difference I would say compared to something like striking events, which, like we said, we were very thankful for the experience for striking events. We enjoyed the ambient and so on, but it does feel a little bit more like a garage sale experience. This is low scale Comic-Con. It's families, but it's not the same kind of families that came to Foreshadowing Hyper Japan on Sunday. Those kind of families, they're there for the day out and that's it. While this was families who only do this event, this local event, for them once a year.
Yeah.
And they come with a lot of spending money. They buy 2-3 t-shirts. They buy t-shirts for their nieces and nephews. It's just a lot of fun. 10 on 10 when it comes to what it is as an event, the cost of the table, the showing up, get sorted, that's your space. They always come at the end of the event and say thank you for participating and helping us make this small event. They're just wonderful people. I genuinely love working with them.
Nice.
If I can swing it, I will be back. But I can't make promises, unfortunately, as of next year if I'm no longer living in this place.
Yeah. It sounds like a great event. It sounds like a very awesome event. So hopefully we can return one day. Right. Time for the next one.
Let's go for the one that people were waiting to see what I have to say about it because of my previous experiences with this event.
Yes, baby. It is time for Hyper Japan, which, not an expo, not a con. I feel naming is always very intentional. It's the Hyper Japan Festival.
Yes.
We were attended. And again, first time for me, but you have had experiences of this event before. So I'm very curious what your initial impressions are based on that.
Let me get started first. So when we actually talk about this year, it will be, it will be a bit of a curve at least. So Hyper Japan, when I went for the first time in 2019, it was my best event of the year. It even passed intakings all 5 MCMs at the time, because MCM back in 2019 was in 5 different locations. Actually, it was in 4 different locations with 6 events. That is the TLDR. And this was better than all of them. It was easily my favorite event of that year. It was very exciting. It was a lot of fun. It was organized very differently than all the other events. It made me feel like this was the formula. All the other events needed to be as cool, as efficient and as fun as Hyper Japan, right? Come back from COVID, it was an absolute fucking nightmare. We were in a different venue. They put us in this little greenhouse. It was boiling. They didn't want to give us parking. They expected my elderly mother to walk for 20 minutes from the venue, from the nearest parking, to unload the van. Imagine doing that back and forth every time. And this is I still have the email where they said, it's a 10-minute by car, 20-minute walk away if you want to park there. It's like, cool, Jan. And every year something negative has happened, from being called a faggot by staff. That was fun. To having a service door right in front of our table open all weekend and the staff didn't want to do anything about it. To, again, asking my mother to walk around an entire building in the blistering sun, even though the door was open right beside them, because that is what their protocol decided was going to be, just for that hour. Not even for the day, just then. That's what they decided they were going to do. So I have had many issues with this event in the past. And the first year, it was one of my most successful. Even though it was really shit coming back from COVID, it was good money. And then every year, it became worse and worse and worse and worse. So this year, I actually was not going to attend it. I made a post about it last year saying that a miracle would take me back to Hyper Japan. And a miracle did happen. Our friend Squishy Kitty let us know that applications were open. Squishy Kitty really enjoys this event, or did. I don't know how she feels about it right now. Our friend Printing Like Rabbits inquired about it. What would it be like? What was my experience? We talked about it. And I was like, you know what? All this is happening. Maybe it is my time to go into this and see if I can have one good Hyper Japan experience. If I go into it without going in both guns blazing. And as it turns out, for me specifically, was it a moneymaker? Nowhere in comparison to what it was in 2022, 2023. Better than last year, but is it worth the area around the Olympia and the prices of lodging there and the prices of table? It's up for debate. I can't say I'm impressed with this event. It is nothing like it used to be in 2019. Especially the audience. It has changed so much. It went from being this market and festival for Harajuku fashion and for anything Japan, from food to little trinkets for your different types of outfits and so on. And now it's genuinely more or less a more refined version of LFCC without the guest signings. I think it's the same people visiting. There's a handful of cosplayers on the Friday, a little bit more on the Saturday. The Sunday, it's literally families with screaming kids that are literally kicking people in the leg. Yeah. The most misbehaved children ever. It's a bit of a mess. But it is what it is. I've said my piece. This year is better than what it was the last 3 years, but meh.
It's probably the event I found the most confusing, if I'm honest, because nothing made sense. Not in terms of organization necessarily. That seemed quite straightforward this year specifically. But just like traffic, audience, what sells, what doesn't sell, just seemed to change by the hour. Like nothing made sense to me. The audience specifically, you did touch on it, but like it really baffled me because Friday was a sort of hard to assess because it was the busiest. Saturday was definitely more the like anime focused attendees, a lot more cosplay, a lot more people who were possibly more into Japanese culture. They all turned up on the Saturday, so all our products that would speak to them were doing well. We were definitely selling more t-shirts on the Saturday, things like that. Then the Sunday was very much like more like a striking events, like like families and like young kids and just people attending because they wanted to get take their kids somewhere for the day. Like it was very market stally and like
It was so market solely that people repeatedly tried to haggle for prices for stickers, badge buttons, enamel pins, t-shirts. This is £6. I'll give you 3. I'll give you a middle finger. I don't know what you want. Just go away.
The products that
Like,
usually do okay or are consistent, like either did super well. Like I've never done a con with you where we have basically sold out of mystery t-shirts.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind we brought a full stack. Like it wasn't like we brought a half empty.
No, it wasn't just a full because full stack could be like a box, right? We had 2 boxes and a bag full of mystery t-shirts. That would be about a little over 100. 100 and a bit.
And it was people, again, sizes, again, things that just didn't make sense in this event because like usually I can predict what sizes do better, but this one everyone wanted small and medium. They were going. People were so desperate for mystery teas, like the category they wanted wasn't available. Screw it, I'll get the other one. And they would come back. People buy one, unwrap it, come back, buy another. Like mystery teas did really well at Hyper Japan, and I could not explain to you personally. Maybe it's my experiences.
In the meantime, t-shirts that did sell, you would think related to Japan. Oh no, it was the D&D stuff.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. No.
It was just that. It was just a really curious
Crazy
experience because like every day almost felt like a different event entirely, and the only consistent thing being that if you happen to be an artist stuck next to a main stage, you basically didn't see any human beings for most of the day because it was so loud, or the people would come up to you so that they could watch the main stage through your table. That's something I spoke to a lot of people around the area talked about. And then the only other consistent thing I noticed was I've never personally done a con that finished so late, and I still don't understand why in the current setup they have, why that's a thing, because we could have probably closed, like left 2 hours early and made the same amount of money. Like there was just people weren't there that
easy to say that by 4 o'clock the event kind of starts dying out. By 6 o'clock there's no one left upstairs at all, and you're still stuck there till 8 o'clock. This used to make sense when I said earlier that they had a very different vibe, a very different way how to sell the event and so on. Saturday was split between 2 events. It started a little bit earlier and it carried on till 2 o'clock. That was 1 ticket. All those people would be asked to leave, and then a second set of people with the evening ticket would stay from 3 o'clock, because there's an hour break for traders and retailers, up until 8 or 9, right? And it would give you 2 batches of people, meaning it more or less would, even though it wasn't, it would act like a 4-day event. So the money was plentiful.
Before we ran out of time, based on your experience, knowing that I know this one performed a bit better, do you think it was good enough for you to consider looking at it again in the future?
I will be fully frank and honest. It will heavily depend on if Printing Like Rabbits wants to go again. If Rob from Printing Like Rabbits decides that he does want to give Hyper Japan another go next year, then I will look into booking with him. So we have a nice weekend, because we do have a nice weekend. We love the food in that area. The hotel we found is quite satisfactory. And it was an overall okay weekend. It just wasn't great money. It's not the hype that Hyper isn't hypey. But if Rob from Printing Like Rabbits decide that he doesn't want to do it, then it is very likely that I will give it a miss and focus on other events instead.
So time is up, which means we have another event to cover. This one, speaking of Manchester, have recently actually come back from one, which was MegaCon Manchester. And I have to say, as I start the timer, one of my favorites of the year
easily
so far. So good. So good. I was going to say one of my my favorite megacons, but I think it's one of my favorite cons, to be honest, in general.
It's fun. I think the fact that we went to an event that we already kind of knew what to expect, but instead added the element of me doing the cosplay,
The fans.
us going to the cosplay meet, so on and so forth, adding that sprinkle of excitement into the work routine, adding the fun element into the work routine, has actually made it an exceptional event. I always enjoy the people of Manchester and the congoers in Manchester. They're always absolutely lovely. The formula for their events, MegaCon this year, have knocked it out of the park. I will admit that last year I had very harsh critiques for their London and Birmingham events. However, Manchester has always been amazing. That said, now they do have a formula for all their events, and it's just easy. It is easy to do an event with them. Setup and breakdown were really smooth, and that also comes down to the wonderful staff of Manchester Central. It's just... It feels like MegaCon events now are slowly becoming the staple convention for UK events, which at the end of the day, considering that MegaCon staff are the ones that built and brought MCM to what it is today before it was sold to Repop, I had absolutely no doubt that they will get to it, but they definitely have. Well done.
Yeah, even in my year of doing events, I've been able to now see the pattern. Like I can sense the formula they've gone for this year, and it just works. I just think it works really, really well. As someone just doing a walk around, everything's easy to find. Stage layout is very good. Nothing's too close to each other. Like everything just makes sense to me, and I can I don't even feel like I need a map. I feel like if I just did a walk around, I could get a good sense of where things are, because everything sort of logically makes sense, really.
Yes.
And again, another staple of MegaCon events. I always like to compliment them on their presentation. I think they just present so well. Like
it's pretty. It's nothing like, it's not UK Games Expo. You know what I mean? No, it's not like this big overdone thing. But it's just aesthetically, visually pleasing. It does feel like an actual con.
Yes, and I think to add to why I like the Manchester event so much, it's a combination of their attention to detail and presentation, combined with it just being a pretty venue, like just another.
It is such a nice venue,
lovely venue. Those things combined, like, just made it just a joy to be in and look around.
For our foreign friends and people who have not been to Manchester for conventions, Manchester Central used to be a train station. It looks like an old worldly train station, and it is just picturesque. It is absolutely stunning. Even when we're setting up and we're just arriving and we've broken down at the end of the event, it still looks beautiful, let alone when you add all the steampunk elements to it and all the anime signs and all the prettiness that comes with the convention buzz. I don't think there is an event at Manchester Central that would not look just dazzling.
It looks so good, and I think they utilize the space really well. The other thing I do really want to comment on is, I mentioned for UK Games Expo just how much I enjoyed the attendees and the atmosphere from them. This one, in a similar vein, but on the other side of the table, is I've never been at an event where the morale was just so positive and high. I just say it how I see it as a newbie as well. And I get it. Totally get it, but the general that there's on setup day when you're speaking to people and even through the convention itself, there's that mild form of anxiety in the air of like, I don't know how it's going to go. I'm stressed about this. Is it going to perform? I'm really worried because of what it was like last year. All these sort of things play in my, and it's part of conversation. And there's just a sort of edge on people because they just want to. They'll be happy when they pack down, basically, no matter how much fun they have. It's hard work. But this one, everyone on setup day was just like joyful, smiling, like, we love this event, it's going to be good, and it just made me really happy. I feed off it so well. And I was just like, oh, there's something about this event that everyone knows it's probably going to be okay. Like, they enjoy it. A lot of people just like, I love this because it means I get to hang out in Manchester. I love Manchester. Like, there's so many aspects of it that just meant the people actually exhibiting were actually having a good time.
And I think people, especially artists themselves, don't understand just how much their morale behind the table affects the entire energy. If you go to an event, the moment that you are sat down behind a table, looking at your phone, looking down, and as soon as someone approaches you, you're like, no one wants that. No one wants to visit you. And instantly, those people are put off. Their energy is dimmed down. And then they're perpetuating that energy to the next artist. And just stop the dominoes.
We feed off it. Yeah, it is a
domino. It is a domino effect. So keep the air light. And Manchester is just perfect for that. MegaCon Manchester is absolutely brilliant. We also had the pleasure of having our table featured in the socials for MegaCon Manchester, which I was really proud of, with Sonic and Shadow. It is impressive that I not only managed to keep my numbers up consistently this year compared to previous years, because I only had one table versus two. I usually have double the space that I had this year. But not only did I have half the space, I also still managed to showcase Sonic and Shadow, which is crazy. But to think that I went from double space to fitting everything compactly enough to not even use one table fully. It was just a good experience. Like I said, I do think that for me, what made it that extra special thing was my attempt at cosplay, which happened on a complete whim. Our experience with 80s floor and everything, it's just a fun weekend. And I will agree with you to say that out of the 7 conventions that we did this year, this would rank very, very high up there. But we will do a ranking at the end of the episode, I think.
It's just a good atmosphere. It was good in general, just from business, and just a nice vibe. It was interesting you mentioned the table thing, because it made me just think about the concept of, bigger is better, not necessarily being a one size fits all solution. I guess there is context when that is important, and sometimes actually, it was interesting to me. It was interesting to me to do that, to think about.
Keep in mind, me saying what I just said doesn't mean that I wish I had 2 tables, because I do. I do think when you have more space, you have more visibility, you have more space to dress your table and make the more impact you can do, the better for people to stop and actually see what you're selling, what you're exhibiting. But knowing that I kept the same amount of numbers with only half the space is just commendable to the event itself.
Just a nice event. And like I said, you mentioned the cosplay. That was nice to see that aspect, that side of it, because we're obviously very aware of the cosplaying. It's nice to see it from a more involved perspective as well. And also just nice to see even the crowds outside the event who were just like hanging out and having lunch and stuff. Just the vibe was just really, really happy. I really liked it. Before we run out of time, I do want to ask the question.
Yes.
Would you do it again? It's an obvious yes for me. I would love to.
Well, yes, I imagine if after saying all those beautiful things, I'd be like, no, I wouldn't do it again. But yes, of course, I am very much looking forward to continue working with MegaCon at their events. I would love to be able to do one of their Ireland-based events, which always happen in January. And for those who haven't heard, they are also doing an event in Farnborough, if I'm pronouncing that properly.
I think that's correct, yeah.
And it is on the first weekend of October, so please check it out. Please try and participate in it. We are not going to be at that particular event because, frankly, we didn't really find a way to manage to do it because of transport reasons and so on and so forth. But if the event is successful the first year, then you never know, we might be able to go next year. So please make it successful by supporting it if you can. We are very excited to see what comes out of it. These people seem like they're on the ball, and I'm rooting for them.
You gotta love the con with the best carpets, always.
Yes, carpet. Yeah.
Time is up. We move on to the next one, where we head over the bridge from England into Wales.
Yes.
And we do Wales Comic Con.
Yes, I was not participant at this one myself because I needed to catch up on drawing, because after 7 weeks of summer, 6 weeks of summer from event to event,
Yeah.
I needed at least one weekend where I can sit and draw things for the winter events. But you went there, Jay, and sounds like you had quite the experience.
It was very interesting. Again, never done this event before, and I will be honest, I don't know much about it because I don't know many people who traded this event, so it was very much going in blind for me. Like, I had no idea. I went with our darling friend Rob from Printing Like Rabbits, and I have to say, just from start to finish, genuinely so impressed with what I experienced. It was a really well organized event, even from the get-go. Like, from the moment we arrived, like, just being told, again, it's a combination of the event staff and the venue staff. It was in the ICC for Newport in Wales, and the staff there were all just so helpful and charming and go out of their way to help you. But even once we got into the venue to like pick up the wristbands and all that stuff, like the organizers of the event were just cheerful, smiley, friendly, and escorted us to show us where our table was and go, this is where your table will be. If you need anything, come speak to me. I will be at this location.
Very nice.
Like, the communication was always there. So we knew if at any point we had any problems, we knew from the get-go a point of contact at the moment of who we could chat to, which was just kind of reassuring. That was really good. Just little things, like they had a pallet of water for people setting up for because they appreciated they were almost slightly melting. So it's just a lot of care for the people attending. I was very impressed with that. It was a very, very smooth setup. And the convention itself, I was not prepared for, one, how busy it was on the Saturday. I think there was a little aspect of that is, from what I gathered, there aren't many like mid or larger scale cons in the country in Wales. So like, this is like one of the big ones to go to if you're not venturing out. So that played into it. So again, heavy traffic all day in all areas. So many people and so much to do as well. It wasn't just a lot of people crowded around hanging out with each other because there was nothing to do. I think the event's very well known for autographs and signing, but you could easily do 2 days there and not get a single photograph or signature because there was wrestling going on. There was axe throwing. There was cosplay competitions. There was potion making classes. There were continuous panels. There were continuous talks and workshops. There was a massive gaming space with retro consoles that you could play on. There was another massive space with PC LAN gaming for people who like to play those games together. There was just room after room after room of things to do. I decided to do a walk around video. You may notice that video is like very long because I kept going, oh my goodness, I've not covered everywhere yet. I need to keep walking.
Nice.
It was very, very interesting. I think the most curious part to me was, even though it's a larger scale event, definitely the audience is the ones I don't know what the term for it is, but a lot of classic fandoms. So you've got your very prevalent, like Star Wars, Doctor Who, that sort of age group. So I think like
it's the Comic-Con crowd.
Yes, and I think if you know what audience you're getting and prepare for that, you can do very well at an event like this. It seems like it was just a nice event. The other thing was we talked about good morale, and this one had that as well, because
Nice.
each table on either side of us and the people we spoke to would chat to us throughout the day. I'm not always used to that. Sometimes people are just so like focus on my table, but people were just like banter and stuff, and it was just like, so it was there was a lot of camaraderie going around, and I really appreciated that as well. I think just a very good attitude for the people trading there, as well as the staff doing it as well.
That's really good.
I think it's just a really, really nice event. It's an interesting venue, the ICC, because it's on many levels. So it's kind of nice in the sense that there's always somewhere you can go. It's not just one massive hall that you'll feel crammed into. So even though it was busy, there was always a good way to flow around traffic and stuff.
Okay.
So I think it will be a good event for you to go to if the idea of some events being very overwhelming and crowded, that didn't have that. It was always a good, spacious use, and they utilize the space so very, very well.
Nice. Sounds like it left a really good impression on you.
It left a really good impression. And again, it was interesting because me and Rob went to this event being like, we haven't done one before. We haven't done this kind of event before. We don't know what it's going to be like. So
yes, as this one particularly is run by Monopoly Events, which none of us have any experience with them ourselves.
So it was all like learning from the get-go. And we walked away just really impressed. And even packing up at the end, even set down was like well communicated. Sunday was a quieter day. There was definitely, if you ever want to do that specific event, I would keep that in mind, that Saturday is your trading day. Sunday is a bit, as is most cons, to be honest. But even the event organizers realized that the event was quieting down. They just communicated out to everyone, if you want to pack down early, we can close. Like, it was, the communication from the team was really good. They have like a Facebook group and stuff, so like they would actively update you every day. It wasn't just like you get a pack at the beginning.
I noticed that. I noticed that they're really on the ball with the Facebook group and the communication. People who ask questions on the day or leading up to it, the team is quite good with that. And the community who does their events repeatedly seem to all kind of work decently well together.
Yeah, I would say if anyone's interested in doing that event, especially if you do fandom stuff, because that I think fandom stuff does really well there. So yeah, just good people, good atmosphere. I enjoyed it, and it's quite nice. Interesting that the wrestling was happening right next to where the lunch was. I just saw a lot of people just like chowing down on noodles while people were throwing each other around a ring and throwing them out of a ring. I was like, oh, this is proper wrestling. Like this is crazy.
Yeah,
just so much going on. It was good fun.
Funny. Well, it does sound like you had a good time. I'm glad that you got the opportunity to go and have that experience. I would absolutely love to be involved in some of their events. They have some of the more popular known events in the country, especially as they're very well known for bringing some of the biggest names in celebrities for signings. For people who are familiar with UK conventions, they're very on the line with like London Film and Comic Con and so on and so forth. But it does seem like they're a lot more on the ball than that. It does seem like from the walkthrough that you showed, it is a more family friendly event rather than you're going there just for signatures and then get out.
Yes,
it's interesting to see. It's nice to see what it's actually like, because I feel like the artist community has a lot to say about Monopoly events. but not necessarily know what they're talking about. Maybe more speculation rather than actual first-hand experience.
Yeah.
But it is nice to have seen the event through your eyes and to talk to Rob from Printing Like Rabbits about it, because it does seem like you had an exceptional time. And if I have the chance to visit, even if it's just an attendee, I would absolutely love to go to their Liverpool event one year. So
Yeah.
that is definitely in my book.
Yes, just generally very impressed, and I've got to say that, like you said, people talk about it maybe from an outside, so it was lovely to see it firsthand. And again, a huge thank you to Printing Like Rabbits for allowing me to support him and tag along.
Fantastic.
For that event.
Well done.
Yes,
Well done.
and
That's
that
exciting.
is bang
That's
on
it.
10 minutes. So
Not the bang on.
not the bang on 10 minutes. Also, my goodness, I've completely lost that. We've covered them all. We've done it. We did it.
We're done. We're done. That was our summer of events. When we didn't have events, we had podcast recording. And when we didn't have that, there was some life drama. So we did not stop, and it has been very tiring. But before we end this episode, I would like you to tell me, if you remove Milton Keynes Comic Con from the equation for you, and I remove Wales Comic Con from the equation for me, let's say that those two hold a special place for this episode, right? Because they weren't ones that we were both at.
Yeah.
How would you rate your experience? Now, keep in mind that this will be different for both of us. For me, it will be as a trader, and for you, it will be as a trader helper, but also as an attendee. How would you rate them, starting with the 5th spot?
Ooh, okay.
Who would your 5th spot go to?
I think my 5th spot would go to Hyper Japan.
My 5th spot would go to Hyper Japan as well.
Yeah, I think
because it wasn't bad, but it wasn't nothing that was particularly noteworthy. The fun that I had was related to people who visited, and the food that we ate in the evening. Outside
very
of the
much
event.
that. I think that all my highlights of the event were the things that happened around it, and I also think if I'm looking for a more attendee lens, if I'm thinking about the value and what I'm getting, if I'm having an event that says I can attend for that many hours, I would want it to give me something to do for that many hours, and I don't think I would want to. I don't think it did that for me, so it would be my least rated out one.
Fair. What about your number 4?
Interesting one. MCM is my number 4.
Fair enough. I think I would go for MCM as well. The highlights for me for MCM were very specifically meeting my longtime internet friend, Bear Sailor Moon, and my friend Christine from Malta, who came to visit, and the rest were just being part of the stamp rally, which quite frankly, MCM has nothing to do with any of those elements.
Yeah.
It was another experience at the job, so to speak, and a very good payday. I will give you that. Hurrah. We love it. Thank you for helping me pay rent. That said, I wouldn't say that it was a particularly noteworthy experience.
Yeah, I'm basically on the same note. And again, from the attendee perspective, I feel like there are other events in this list that I would genuinely just have more fun at. And unless I was someone who wanted to spend all my day on the green, I don't think it really speaks to me much.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fem. In my number 3 spot, I would place AnimeCon.
Same.
I would say AnimeCon, the moment I remove all the moments of listening to drama, I actually had a good time.
Yeah.
I had a good time because I went into it expecting it to be what it was. I didn't go there expecting anything different. I didn't go there expecting to stir up anything. I just wanted to have a good time. I went there wanting to see artist friends who are sharing my space and just make the most of it. And as it turns out, not having the face of misery attracts customers because we did really well. So,
Yeah, we did. We did. We had
sus.
I think it's...
And we weren't even anywhere close to the busy area. We were like on the outskirt, on the back.
And yeah, we spent a whole day watching talks and lightsaber training. Like,
Exactly. But we still had a great time. We still had a great time. I think the vibe is fun. It just needs to be organized better, and people need to actually either give it a chance or critique it with a mature lens rather than just whinge about it on socials, or just not turn up.
Yeah,
just
very simple.
Give it a
very
pass.
simple.
It's okay. You don't have to participate in every single thing.
Yeah, I genuinely think like knowing how much stuff there was going on, and trust me, there was a variety of things going on. But like if I could spend a whole day there and just have a really fun time.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think for that reason alone, and the potential that's there is crazy. So that alone, yeah, definitely.
There is potential for it.
Yeah.
Number 2, for me, maybe here we will differ, but number 2 for me is UK Games Expo.
No, same.
Same. Okay. I did think about putting this a little bit lower, but the appeal was that it was my first time doing it, and it was decent money. It wasn't great. It was a fun weekend. It was fun because we got to speak to a lot of people who just have a general very different vibe when they're at con compared to regular con goers. This was literally like chill board game people who are there to have a good time, not pressed about, I don't think the crowd is dealt with properly and all these headaches. It was just fun. There was still a big element of cosplay. There was still all the good things about other cons, but this felt like a little bit of a plus. We also got to play a lot of D&D during that weekend. A shout out to our games mistress, games master, Maisie, and we just had an overall great time. I loved it. I loved it. I do wish I made more money, but I still loved it.
I would say I think the reason why it's so high up for me is because, as I said, I think just attending it's the only event I think I could do the full days and have a great time every day and not get bored. Again, it looked great, and I feel like from the business side of things, I feel like all the gripes I have personally are more to do with the fact that it was the first time doing it, so the lessons you have to learn about understanding the audience and stuff, but then also the nature of like the time we booked it and stuff like that. So I feel like having learned some lessons from that, and if you could get a better space, I feel like it would only be better. So yeah, very, very, very impressed with what I experienced.
Yeah. And in first place, for all the reasons we mentioned in our review and more, it's definitely MegaCon Manchester. It is generally my favorite event of the year as far as big events go. Keep in mind, we still have one more event this summer, which is literally this weekend, which is RakuCon, but I tend to not involve RakuCon in rankings because there is an obvious bias. It is run by people who are close friends of mine.
Yeah.
It is around my birthday, so friends come and visit during that weekend, so we can have like a whole weekend day out. So it's better for me not to include it in these lists. But MegaCon is always on top for the pyramid for summer for me. And doing cosplay this time and getting to interact with so many wonderful people just made it even all that better. The money was good. The experience was good. Everything was easy breezy. And super happy with it.
Yeah. I agree with all of that wholeheartedly. I think MegaCon is rapidly growing to be one of my favourite events to be at, and Manchester was just like, out of all of them, was the peak of those. So yeah, gotta be number one for that reason.
Brilliant. Well, that's it. That was our summer. If you went to a convention this summer and you want to tell us about it, just let us know in the comments, because I want to know your experience of these same events, or your experience at other events that you think we should be checking out, because in 3 months we've done 7 events, but really we could probably do 14.
Yeah. Yes.
Tell us how else we can use them. How much more work we can do. And in the meantime, I think this is it. We've talked it out.
We've talked it out, which leaves me
talked
just
it
a
out.
couple of things to say before we go. Number one being, if you have any ideas of what you'd like to see from the birthday special from
Yes.
PB and myself, and let us know either in the comments or by reaching out to us via messaging on all the numerous social apps that we use.
Yes,
Please
please.
do. We want to hear what you think would make a fun birthday special.
We
Let's
have
talk about
2
what-
episodes, 2
Yes.
birthday episodes, one at
So-
the end of August and one at the beginning of October. Help us decide what to do in them.
Yes. Speaking of reaching out to us via the DMs, if you want to find out how to find our DMs and where to find us on socials and our shop and all the wonderful things, including our Patreon, stay and listen to the end to find out more. But until then, and until our next episode, it is a goodbye.
Bye-bye!
Firstly, a huge thank you to our amazing conventioneers, Beck and Kit, who have joined our Patreon. Support the show and join the community yourself at www.patreon.com/thecongcreatives. Find out more from our show sponsors and where to follow us on social media at www.thecongcreatives.com. The podcast is hosted and produced by Gilles Bone and Jay Eggman.